Now we'll start off today here with some black, with some blue and red. A little touch of white so that it's not completely dark. I've got clear gel, but no white, just clear gel over my canvas. Of course, as you know, because you clicked onto the thumbnail, we're gonna be painting a night scene. So, you know, we need it kind of dark. That's why there's no white up here. I'm gonna start in the corner though. I'm gonna start in the corner because I've got a moon here and I kind of want to leave that area a little bit open so I can put a slightly lighter color. I don't think I've ever painted a crescent moon or anything other than a full moon, so this should be different, a little bit fun. There. Of course, if you're enjoying these and you're looking forward to seeing this one and you'd like to see more, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And don't forget to click the bell icon too so that you'll be notified when I put out the next painting video. All right, that works. Because of that clear gel, it takes just a minute really to cover the canvas. Does not take long at all. Now, a little caution here. Just, you might as well know this before we get into this painting. If you mix together blue and black together without adding red, you'll probably have a very slight shade of green. That's fine normally, but it's not good in the sky. So just kind of make a note of that. Oh, while I'm doing this, we should take a look at the paintings that you guys did, or your version of my last one. Remember to use the hashtag on the screen so that you can share your painting with me, and I'll try to get it in the next video. So do your version of this night scene. There we go. I'm just finishing up, kind of adding a little blue here in the middle. It's a good thing, because like I said, I'm gonna do that moon right there. But before we do that, I've got to wipe the area with a shop towel. This will just, for the most part, just remove paint. It's also gonna lighten this some. I don't really know how much. Let's go find out. Enough talking about it. Wow, it's not lightening it quite as much as I thought it would. Maybe that's a good thing, because hey, we can always add white to it to lighten it if we need to. And I'm gonna remove a lot of this paint. Now you might be wondering, why not just paint with less? Why put it on and then take it off? Well, when you go to paint with less, it's so difficult. You have to scrub for like 10 minutes to get a sky in like this, where I did that sky in about a minute. That's the difference. So what? You wipe it off for another minute, so your investment is like 2 minutes instead of like 10 minutes of grinding. That's the difference. The more paint you put on, the easier it is to get the paint on the canvas. I mean, it makes total sense. But if you don't get it off, it will drastically affect, in a negative way, the rest of your painting. Not to mention, sometimes when you get too much wet paint on here, it kind of makes it a little shinier. This way it's not quite as shiny for you guys, for the video. But there, see how you can literally just wipe off areas until you are satisfied. You'll see I've got that blue. That really makes a difference. All right, there you go. If you don't have these blue shop towels, I suggest rags. Now, what do you do at this point? Well, I'm going right back to this brush, which still has some paint on it, but not a lot. I wiped it off on a paper towel. And I'm just gonna go over this whole sky area with just overlapping strokes, or whatever you do to make your sky. And that feathers kind of what I did into the painting a little, without adding really any paint to speak of. There, isn't that excellent? Absolutely excellent. I actually got rid of some of my brush hairs. Not that those ever really bother me. A lot of artists just leave the brush hairs in, and I'm for that. I don't like to pick them out. There you go. Anyway, you just blend it until you like how smooth it is. I may even add just a little glow up here for the moon. I think that'd be pretty. We are gonna have some clouds and some stars. I'm very excited. We never paint night. We really don't ever paint night scenes. Hey, we should do the water while we're here. But maybe that's why it's kind of exciting, because we never get to do it. Of course, the only reason we never get to do it is because I just don't do it. I guess we could. And it's a lot of fun to try something a little different. We should do more of that. So now I've got a filbert brush and kind of a yellow ochre color. Now I know what you're thinking, which is probably, what are you doing with that yellow ochre, considering I've got so much blue. In fact, they really shouldn't touch each other up here in the sky, but we're gonna do it anyways. Maybe we'll be okay. Maybe we'll make a big mess. Guess you don't know till you try. I'm hoping that I've wiped enough of the paint off of this canvas. I'm gonna set that down just a little, right where my moon is going. That's enough. Grab not that blender brush, grab this blender brush. And I'm going to lightly feather. Ooh, gotta be so careful. One tip for using the liner brush, the blender brush is, use only one side. That we got another side clean if that side gets dirty. All right. Nice, and I don't see any green in that. Now, yellow ochre, the reason I chose yellow ochre instead of something like a cad yellow is because the yellow ochre doesn't turn so violently green so quickly at all. So it's a better choice. And I also put the red in there to help make it a little bit more safe as well. Of course, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, just use white. It'll look great with just white. Not sure that was worth it, but I wanted to make sure I showed you just in case I messed it up. Now we got to put our moon there. Like I said, I've never painted a crescent moon. It'll be kind of fun. Before we do that, let's get a little bit more. I'm gonna put some more red. I've had enough of that. We're a little out of control there. I'd like to put a little more red. We should be much safer. And let's go ahead and I want maybe a star there that's got kind of a little more to it. Maybe just one or two there that may be a little brighter. These are just glows that I'm painting. We'll paint the actual stars in later. Just talking about the glow, and I think that works. Oops, let's use the clean side there. So now I've got a little bit of clean white. I just squirted that out and some yellow ochre just to warm it up on the detail brush. And we're going to be painting that moon in. Make sure you get a nice sharp point. We'll do this pretty carefully. Now this is oil painting. I can set my finger right there on it. It shouldn't hurt anything because we made a new star. There you go. Usually that doesn't even happen. Usually you can't even tell where you put your finger down, but maybe it's because it's so dark. I don't know. If it was a lighter sky, that would have been nothing at all. But let's get us this little crescent moon in here. Now, I'm not a crescent moon expert. Honestly, I should go look at a picture, and I haven't even done that. I'm just kind of hoping to make something that reminds me of a crescent moon. And if it's not perfect, that's okay with me. I don't think it's going to take away from the painting. There you go. Now, I'm not too sure how sharp to make that edge, so I'm just going to touch it a little bit. Tap it and kind of feather it a little. I can work on this more throughout the painting if I go back and want to do something with it, but there you go. There you go. Not bad. Sometimes you see those faint lines where you can actually see the moon wrap around. Have you ever seen those? They're not just fantasy. I've seen them many times in person. They're there if you look. So let's do that. That's a little distinct. Maybe I'll knock that back. But you know what? I'm happy. That's my first time ever doing a crescent moon. I'm happy. Knock that back, though. It's a little much. Yeah, there we go. And we'll blend those stars in. There we go. Just where I wanted them. Now I'm going to place in some clouds. Now that we have our moon in. And these clouds are done with a very similar color. Maybe a little more purple than the blue behind it. But they're almost the exact same shade as what's going on up here. They're a slightly different color, maybe slightly darker, but not much. The only reason you can even see them, I think, because this is that little bit of red in them. That's nice. I think that works. Of course, you could make yours bright, very, very bright if you like. It's completely up to you. There, that looks pretty good. I like that. Not too much up in the top. I think because I want those stars up there, If you do so much clouds, you'll have no stars. Now I'm going to place in some mist just right here on this blank area. And today we're going to be kind of relying heavily on the mist to kind of make some interesting layering effects. And in layering effects, they're very important. They really help to add some depth. So anytime you can add a layer, it's definitely a good thing to do. That works. That definitely works. Nice. Now, as far as establishing the land, probably should get to that here real soon. You don't want that mist too bright. It almost feels too bright, but I think it'll be okay once we get other stuff on top of it. I mean, this is a painting, and we need some amount of light. Otherwise there's not much to look at. So make sure you do that. That looks decent, though. I think we can live with that. And the other thing I might do down here, I might just go ahead and take just some black and cover the last of the remaining white canvas area, because that bright white canvas might throw off your eye when you're looking at this painting. So go ahead and get it covered dark first. And honestly, you could do a black acrylic canvas if you want to, but I don't really think it's super necessary for this. So now we're going to paint in the stars. And this is very straightforward. There's several ways to do this, even taking a fan brush and flicking paint on like you would for a seascape. That's certainly a way to do it. I may do it. I'm not convinced that's the way I like to do it. I don't usually do it that way. Normally, I just paint stars in individually. It doesn't take that long and you have more control. And I don't necessarily want as many. You can get it to where it looks too busy. See, it doesn't take much. Just go around dotting with the brush like so to get really a full night sky full of stars. One nice thing about doing the moon is you can do stars. Normally, I always do stars anyways. They're so pretty. But normally on a full moon, you don't really see stars to speak of. But with the moon not being full, oh, it gives us an excuse. Not that we really ever needed an excuse, but it does give us one. That's fun. Now I am going to be a little careful. I don't really want too many far down. There's too many clouds. I'd rather keep them up here. That makes more sense to me. Okay. Anything you don't like or anything, oops, I put it over a cloud like that one right there. You can easily blend those in. So now we're going to paint in some of our background trees, and actually the background trees themselves make up a lot of the painting. They're important. It's kind of fun. And like I was saying before, I think that mist is going to come in handy for creating layers. The only way to make background trees look interesting, at least to me, is by using a lot of layers. Otherwise, they're just not so exciting. I've got my blender brush here. All right, that works. There's one layer. That's all you need to make a layer. Just a very small touch of that sky color, really. I mean, I guess it was sky color. I've been painting stars. I don't remember. But whatever it is, it's close enough. Maybe it was the cloud color. It doesn't matter. To me, this is, you could make this a swamp. You could make this anything you want, really. A mountain even would work. In fact, I was thinking about maybe painting a mountain here. So maybe if you guys really seem to enjoy this nighttime landscape, maybe in the near future, maybe we'll do a mountain with a moon or something. That could be interesting. I don't know. We'll see if you enjoy this or not. There we go. But see how that's soft? But what I was going to say is you could do a swamp, or you could do just about anything. You could take it anywhere you want to go. Obviously, the seascape. That is probably the most common thing to do. I think the challenge of painting a night scene, though, is trying to make it interesting with limited colors and limited lighting. You almost have to make the lighting up. This is not accurate. That little tiny crescent moon wouldn't do a bit of good for illuminating this landscape. So this is more or less made up and not real in any way as far as the way the lighting goes here. And I'm okay with that. There we go. Now, on a full moon day, that's another story, isn't it? All right, now how about right over here? How about we do, not dead center, that would look silly, but maybe to the left of center. Let's do a larger evergreen. That's exciting. I was thinking maybe we could do some like little distant buildings. Would that be cool? Maybe reflect them into the water could be interesting. I'm kind of making a backdrop for that right now. Let's see how that goes. Every time you do a layer, stop, get your blender brush, and add that mist right in. I just love the way that looks, don't you? Oh, yes. Because we put down that sort of light color, it gives us actually something to work with, which is nice. Because otherwise, you would be like adding white at this point, trying to blend it. But this is better just to have it already there waiting on you. And as you go back, maybe even softer. It's okay to have an area that kind of is just very faint. I think that's, again, adds to the interest. Maybe it's even okay to have some lighter areas there. Excellent. Maybe just hit it with the blender brush. And that should do it. Now I'm going to move back up to the moon area because I'm gonna highlight. And I think I'm gonna just stay around the moon, although I can't quite decide. We'll figure it out. We'll be slow and careful. There, not too much. In fact, I think that's a little silly to put it that far out. Maybe I won't do that. Okay, there, that looks decent. That looks decent. Just going around kind of the outline here of my clouds that are the closest to the moon, just to give it a little more interest. Maybe this one here as well. You can see I'm obviously going to do kind of a nice light through the middle. That's very typical of something like this. And maybe our clouds will just help kind of represent that. See, just don't go crazy with it, but just a few little hits of highlight. And I think we'll do the same on the trees. Why not? Is there anything up here? There's really no clouds up there. Maybe just that one right there. It's mostly stars up on the top, but maybe just, a hint. And like I said, I don't like that one. So let's get rid of it. There, good enough. All right, I like that. Now, that requires a little blending, perhaps. And when I blend, because there's not much paint on there, I'm going to have to blend with color in my brush. If I didn't do that, it would probably make the cloud brighter than I wish it would as that color gets dragged downward. So let's just kind of blend it with paint in the brush. That's going to be the best way to go about that. Excellent. All right, you can, of course, build that up with more and more layers if you choose. And I may, but let me just continue with the painting, and then I'll figure out, hey, maybe we need a little brighter up there or whatnot. Very easy to go back and change. Maybe just a little brighter while we're talking about that. Maybe just a little brighter right there. Maybe another layer to that cloud. Always fun to have multiple layers in your clouds. It just, to me, adds a little variety that I think really adds something. There. Yeah, all right, we can work with that. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But I think we're on the right track. So now I've got a filbert brush and very similar kind of light blue color to just everything that's going on in the painting. But what I'm going to do is the same idea as the clouds. You'll see I kind of knocked them down a little. I think that helps. There's a little blender brush action there. But as far as highlighting the trees goes, we could honestly skip it probably altogether, but I think I'm going to just go ahead and do a little. Very, very little. And it may not even show. Nobody probably is going to notice. Because if I do too much, it's going to just take away. It's not going to look good. So I'm just doing enough. Oh, this is subtle. Less is more today. We'll be putting in bright lights. And just maybe some dark foliage. It's just different things. We don't need, honestly, I'm not even liking that. We don't need that much. There we go, a little darker. Perfect, that's all I want. See, just the tiniest feeling. I mean, I know you guys think I'm crazy because this is just not really doing a thing, but I like the little tiniest bit that it is doing. I think it's interesting. And I'm trying to add as much interest to this as possible. But some of the things I do is I'm especially working on the clouds, and just some of the things I'm doing don't help when you have to erase them. Sometimes you get a cloud that's too bright, like we did over there, had to blend it in, stuff like that. And then I'm trying not to do that with the trees, but we can always erase it and try again. Ooh, that is subtle though. I think subtle is the key. Well, it's hard to tell, but that's a purple. That's a purple color. That's very, very dark. Just blue and red. No black or anything. Just blue and red comes out looking nice and dark. So anyway, point is, back in here, and I'm not too sure where. You see I added a little more land on that side. I'd like a couple of old cabins, but I don't want to make them necessarily the feature, if you know what I mean. They're more there for the excuse of me wanting to have some lights in the background. Beautiful little lights. So I want it to look like there's 3 or 4 cabins that are set back here. This is a very common scene, I would say around lakes, mountain lakes. Maybe this is some vacation homes or something fun. So like I said, I don't want to go crazy with this. Just kind of some no big deal shapes. Honestly, they almost look like little like little hot dogs or something back there. Doesn't necessarily even look like a house. Does not necessarily look anything like a house. And that's okay. That is absolutely okay. That one's almost, maybe it won't make it perfect 1 point perspective. It's almost 1 point perspective though, isn't it? There, okay, there's 2. Do we need a lot more? No, maybe one over here. Just for the sake of just the painting itself, I think that'll be interesting. Okay, blender brush, the one we've been using. Just kind of tap along the bottom. That creates a little land. In fact, it wouldn't hurt to get us a little more, maybe with that same color, just a little more land for them to sit on. Tap that in there. That gives that a more defined area, and it also separates that mist from maybe the mist that's in front. And let's let that fade out over there. Excellent. Okay. To me, that's enough. We can always, go further with it, but I don't want to overdo. Boy, I don't even know if you can see that. Okay, here's the fun part. I want some beautiful light shining in the windows, so let's get that going. Oops, I barely have any red. I may need to stop and get some more red out, but I'll at least do one with you. I'm thinking somewhere just right here. Good. And then I was trying to brace my pinky under the easel. It was much more difficult. It's easier just to freehand it. And let's see, let's come down here. And this is kind of the part I'm excited for. And I just want to reflect it in the water. Oh, don't get green. You get about 1 chance with this, let me tell you. Look at that. There's even green just showed up on my palette. I don't know if you can see that or not. See that? You got to be so careful. Now I'm lightening the left side for no reason other than, well, there goes my stars. Well, I guess they're going to go away anyways. For no reason other than I'm putting a tree there. It's the only reason. And that way, because my tree is going to be fairly dark, that way I kind of like the way those clouds wrap around. That's kind of cool. Should have done that to begin with. Well, I may do that over, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I kind of like it though. So sometimes you just kind of come up with stuff at random. Sometimes it just works. So let's do that. Let's add a little, what feels like clouds just moving around. They frame in that star. I like that. Now let's avoid messing it up with our tree. Easier said than done. And I'm going to get just some of the same dark purple color. And right up here somewhere, we need our large evergreen. Of course, you could do this with the detail brush. In fact, I would say go ahead and do a lot of it with the detail brush. But I'm going to do some of it here with my fan brush. There we go. That totally works. There's another evergreen here hanging off on the left side, but mostly here it's the one. It's the one here on the right. On the right side of the left side. Don't you love painting? There we go. Nice. And then, if you want to bring it over, you could, and then just put your clouds back over. But I do like the way those clouds came around. That is excellent. Would have been a good idea to, and it's not too late, go ahead and lighten the area here, because I can't see where the tree is. It's too dark. Lighten that for no reason other than I've got to put a tree there. One big advantage to painting with all kind of the same colors that you can come back very easily and pop in these negative space areas. I mean, I do it anyways, but this is definitely easier. This is definitely easier. There, that looks good. Yeah, anytime I look around and I see my tree, it's not quite right. This is what I'll do. Get in here and, if you can, sometimes you can't. A sunset's more difficult. The blue skies, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. A lot of the time it'll just turn out as green. But look, see, you can pop in these negative space areas, open that tree back up, and honestly provide just a little more contrast and just feather that right in. It'll be fine. See that? Look at that. You could open up the tree. Love it. Absolutely love it. This gives you an incredible amount of artistic flexibility by being able to adjust your your negative space. Negative space is so important. Wow, that looks good. I love that. I love the bright behind it because it makes it pop. You know, that maybe that moon is just catching those. Who cares? Who even cares? I'm not going to explain it. It's just a little brighter there because it looks good. Got to have fun. Can't wait to see your version of this painting. There's a lot to work with, considering there's not a lot to work with, if you know what I mean. Nice. Well, anyway, I just wanted to show you kind of how I like to do that. And this is like the perfect place to go crazy doing that. Usually I just pop in a hole or two if I do it at all. This really works. So now I'm going to paint in all of the details, the grass, and honestly probably some tree limbs up there as well. I'll get to that in just a second. But I'll get this grass in. I think that'll look good. Yeah, we can work with that. What do you think? Maybe, see, this is very bright, and I think it'll look really good with some high contrast grass blades just pulled right over that. Of course, don't do this. If you're painting with me, don't do this. Unless you're comfortable with liner brush grass. And if you're not, just simply practice on a scrap canvas until you do get comfortable with it, or comfortable enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. Not every blade turns out right, especially not for me. But that's okay, because altogether they seem fine. Even the ones that are going sideways or not connected properly. Looks fine. But anyway, look at the high contrast. I like that. That works. That works. Okay, right over here as well. I kind of had planned to have a decent bit of foreground grass. I mean, we're clearly standing on the shore that kind of wraps around, so we might as well make it look like that. Have it fairly solid along the bottom. I actually love it when the liner brush kind of goes crazy and you get those little seed pods or whatever those are. I don't know, but in almost all of my paintings I have those, don't I? Just dots in the grass, and I think it adds an extra texture for literally no extra work. Wonderful. In fact, sometimes you get them when you don't want them. So there you go. You might as well pretend to want them, because then you don't feel bad. Oh yes. Excellent. Actually, a few squiggles here and there would actually be good as well. Squiggles kind of help to break up the shape of the clump of grass. Good. Don't make them too thick, though. That would be maybe the biggest problem. Just don't want to make them too thick. A few more squiggles here and there. Good. Well, you kind of get the idea, but we'll just add quite a few of those. We'll add some lighter ones, but not too many. Clearly, you know, if you had too many, it'll just look busy. All right, let's get a little detail. You could have done these trees, or I could have done these trees, you know, exclusively with the liner brush, but it works to just add details as well and do them with the, what did I do this? Probably with the detail brush. There we go. That's not grass, that's like a bush. Let's get something in there like that. It's kind of interesting. All right. Maybe a little bit of grass down here. Not too big though. Too big and it'll kind of destroy that effect of distance we're trying to create. So be careful about that. How about up here as well? A few older branches that are kind of just barely hanging on to this tree. Well, that's about it for this painting today. It was really fun to do a night scene for a change. It's kind of fun working with a limited palette and working with the light coming down the middle of the painting. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing it. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching.